Hello, my name is Nagayo, and I am the prosecutor of this case, the State of New York versus Leonora Ashburnham. The defendant of this case, Leonora Ashburnham, is charged with the crime of manslaughter in the first degree. She had an intent to cause the death of Edward Ashburnham, and she has caused the death of him. Edward Ashburnham, who is Leonora's husband, committed suicide by cutting throat, which is notified on the page 183. Leonora has a daughter named Nancy, and she has been having an affair with Edward. We could see Leonora's intent to cause Edward's death through a conversation between Leonora and Nancy. Leonora tells Nancy multiple times throughout part 4 how Edward should be with Nancy and not Leonora. For example, on page 170, Leonora says to Nancy, "You must stay here to save Edward. He's dying for the love of you." And on page 188, "You must save Edward's life. You must save his life. All that he needs is a little period of satisfaction from you. Then he will tire of you as he has of the others." He says this quote right after she explains how horrible a man Edward is, saying all about his affairs, including Florence, and that he's violent, overbearing, vain, drunken, arrogant, and about his extreme sexual necessities. Even though Leonora is trying to convince Nancy to be with Edward, she explains horrible things about him. Who would want to be with a man even if his wife admitted? No one would. No one would want to be with a horrible man who is violent and overbearing. It does not look like she did this on purpose by telling Nancy and having this shows that intent to want to cause Edward's death, but that is exactly what she wants. She wants to look innocent and that she did not have anything to do with it. This shows Leonora's intention to cause Edward's death by taking away Nancy from Edward, even if she knows he's dying for the love of Nancy. Also, Nancy tells Edward to Leonora, "The church does not allow divorce. I cannot belong to your husband. I am going to Glasgow to rescue my mother," on page 179. After this, Edward falls down the stairs. He is agitated and feels betrayed by the love of his life. Leonora's intent to separate Nancy and Edward worked. And to show Leonora really had an intent to separate them, after Nancy left to India, she had a triumphant smile, and when she got a telegram which explained how Nancy is doing well with her parents without Edward on page 199, she was quite pleased with it. After reading this telegram, Edward commits suicide. She is happy that Nancy is away from Edward, causing the death of him. Also, Leonora marries Rodney Bayham after Edward dies. The fact that she can marry a different guy, even though a little time has passed, it shows Leonora really did not love Edward. If she really loved Edward, she should be grieving and not marrying another man or making babies with a man. This shows Leonora did not care for Edward, and that means she did not care if Edward is dying, being away from Nancy. This Leonora's action supports that she had an intention to cause Edward's death. Also, Leonora is accused of manslaughter in the first degree and not murder in the first degree because her intent to cause Edward's death under influence of emotional disturbance. The fact that she did not love Edward and hated Edward for being violent, overbearing, vain, drunken, and his extreme sexual necessities, this made emotional disturbance to her to want to cause Edward's death. Therefore, Leonora Ashburnham is charged with manslaughter in the first degree. Ashburnham and claims Leonora is not guilty, because Edward Ashburnham made the immediate choice. Edward committed a suicide soon after he read the letter from Nancy, says the letter should be the cause of his death. He desired Nancy to continue to love him even she is 5,000 away from him, and he sent her to India by himself. Therefore, he brought on his own misfortune and committed a suicide. And Leonora never had any urge to kill Edward. For the evidence, Laura said she wanted it sink to despite him. She realized, gone from her for good, then let him suffer. On page 160. Leonora had been suffered from many feelings and had been torn between love for Edward and Catholic Church, so she wanted Edward to live and experience the hell she experienced. Therefore, if she told Nancy about her man as he and let her not love him, it should be take many steps for that. So it really uses brain. So on the statute 125.20, a person is guilty of manslaughter in the first degree with intent to cause the death of another person. He causes the death of such person or of a such person under circumstances which do not constitute murder, because he acts under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance. And to separate Edward and Nancy, it should be planned, so she is not guilty for manslaughter. And Leonora told Nancy the affairs Edward had in the past and her bad husband he has been. It can be an opportunity that Nancy disillusioned him. However, it is not her fault because she just told the truth. Fundamentally, it was Edward's fault because Nancy would continue to love him if he didn't have such affairs. And Leonora didn't tell Nancy about the affairs because she wanted to kill Edward. To tell Nancy stay with Edward to save his life, but Edward is horrible man. Upon having returned from Newham, Leonora had completely broken down. For a long time, Leonora had been worried and stressed. Edward's behavior, which doesn't care about his wife and play with other women. She had too many feelings in her mind, and she was about to burst. For the evidence, she was torn between her intense maternal love for the girl and an intense jealousy of the women who realizes the man she loved has met what appears to be the final question of his life. On page 161, she lay all day upon her bed and suffered from headache. On page 164, headache lasting through whole day, during which she could speak no words and could bear to hear no sound. It is obvious Leonora was ill because of Edward and his continuous affairs. In such health condition, it is possible Leonora got into depression state and mental derangement, not the extreme emotional disturbance, but it is possible she got into mad and crazy. And on page 166, while she left the lasting well and her words cut deeply into the girl's mind, Leonora's headache seemed to have gone for good. Leonora told Nancy what kind of man Edward is and hurt her. However, it couldn't be helped because she stressed too much. For the evidence, after she said what she wanted to say, her headache is cured. Leonora also had Edward by scolding him. She said him, "This is the most atrocious things you have done in your atrocious life," on page 167. However, she told Gawel, "I said a great deal more to him than I wanted to, just because he was so silent," on page 168. She wanted Edward to say something to her, and she wanted to know his mind. She accidentally hurt Edward, and it was not the urge to kill Edward. Leonora Ashburnham never urged to kill Edward Ashburnham. Also, she was little related to his suicide. Therefore, she shouldn't be charged on manslaughter in the first degree. What defender has said is wrong. The defender said it was planned, but on this statue, Leonora just had an intent to cause Edward's death, because there's nothing on the book that shows Leonora's plan to kill Edward, so it's not planned. And also, the defender said that because she was ill because of Edward, and that caused to be mad and crazy, and she said how horrible Edward is to Nancy. And if she had been ill, even though if she had been ill, if she loved Edward, she should care for him that her husband died. But the fact that she smiled after Nancy went to India, and the fact that she got a telegram that explains how Nancy is doing well without Edward, and knowing that it's gonna upset Edward, because like I said before, on page 170, Leonora says to Nancy, "He's dying for the love of you." Leonora literally knows Edward is dying, but Leonora, the fact that she says Nancy how horrible Edward is, it shows Leonora's intent to want to cause Edward's death. And also, she is, like she said, this case is about the defendant who is pretending to be good and use lies to avoid being held responsible for her own actions. She's trying to get away with it, but she just wants to become the victim of this case by showing that she's ill and had a headache, and the fact that she marries Rodney Bayham after Edward's death, it shows Leonora did not care for Edward, and if she, even though if she'd been ill, she should be grieving. So the fact that she's not, she's having a smile, and she is, she married a guy after it, it shows that it wasn't about ill. She really had an intent to cause Edward's death. prosecutor claimed Leonora Ashburnham told Nancy about her kind of man Edward is, and told Edward about Nancy, and she said him she will divorce him and you should marry with the girl, and it takes too many steps, so it is impossible to do that in race plan. So prosecutor claims not the crime of manslaughter in the first degree, but the murder in the first degree. And Leonora, it is true, Leonora married with another man after Edward died, but it is not because she didn't love Edward, but she wanted to console herself, and also Leonora dreamed to marry Raceman commonly and having a child, so she just wanted her dreams to come true. And also Edward knew Nancy didn't love him anymore because before he read a letter from her. On page 188, I have told you that the girl came one night to his room and that was the real hell for him. And when Nancy came to Edward's room in the night, she said to him, "I can never love you now. I know the kind of man you are. I will belong with you to save your life, but I can never love you." On page 189. However, Edward didn't commit a suicide in the night. Therefore, he didn't die because just he lost the love from Nancy, but he lost the continuous love from Nancy, who is 5,000 miles away from him. And about the pleased expression that Leonora has smiled, it is true, but there is no evidence she smiled because Dora died, so we cannot decide she's happy with with Edward's die. Yes, that's all.